Alert, alert. This episode was recorded before the Tigers signed Scope and Mazzara. This is an addendum. We didn't talk about either of those players. Don't think it changes what we would have said. Enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. It's team profile and projection number 3. We are doing the Detroit Tigers. Jake, the Motor City Kitties lost 114 games in 2019, the last full season they have played. Last year they went 23-35, which is on pace for 62 and 100. They're coming to the very end or the beginning of the rebuild, however you want to say it. Yeah. People are on their way, made some debuts last year. Everyone that voted in the poll said that this is the 28th best team in Major League Baseball. We thank you for taking the poll. A quick reminder, if you're a diehard Tigers fan, you know more than us about your team. So anything we say that you're wrong, that's dumb, Tweet at us, correct us. We'd love to be corrected to make sure we're saying things correctly. Jake, can you tell me what the Tigers did this offseason?
Jim, I'm just going to get this out of there. I'm in on these Tigers. Who they did lose, though, they lost Austin Romine, the veteran catcher. He goes over to the Cubbies. Ivan No Fun, he's on Philadelphia now. Jonathan Scope, CJ Crone, Jordan Zimmerman ends his reign of terror for the Tigers. Who came into town? Wilson Ramos. He'll replace at the catcher position. Robbie Grossman, Trev's guy, partially gets his bag. And Jose Urena, enemy of Ronald Acuna Jr., he comes over and he joins this young core that's forming in their lineup, T-Pain.
Yeah, we can talk about the lineup a little bit. Grossman is my boy, not partially. That's my boy, Robbie G. The gross man. Anyways, that catcher, Wilson's going to be the catcher. Okay? We got another guy named Grayson Griner. I think they'll probably be splitting time. It is a good name. Wilson, I don't think can play 162 games. We all know that. I say Wilson's, pencil him in for 80 to 100 games. They'll be switching off back and forth. First base, we got Jeimer Candelario. And I probably said that wrong. Did I get that right?
I think it's Jeimer.
Yeah. Candelario. Second base, another former Twins prospect, Nico Goodrum, who's really found his footing in Detroit. Happy to see that. At shortstop, we got Willie Castro. Third base, Isaac Paredes. Which one?
Yeah, both work.
Bang.
I like that one. We don't know the teams as good as you know the teams. Please correct me. Anyways, left field, Robbie Grossman, like we talked about. Center field, Jacoby Jones. Right field, Kristen Stewart. And a DH, that big bad man, Mr. Triple Crown, Miguel Cabrera. Jim, what about their rotation?
Matthew Boyd.
Your guy.
Still there.
He's still there.
Tariq Skubal and Casey Mize will be getting the ball and being on the bump. They made their debuts last year, and there's a lot of hype around them. Michael Fulmer, still there. Spencer Turnbull and Jose Urena, who they just picked up, as Jake told you. Who do they got in the pen? Let me check real quick.
Soto got gross for a little bit last year, the lefty.
Brian Garcia. Buck Farmer, great name. Buck Farmer.
Edit that out.
Great name.
Edit that out.
Tyler Alexander made some waves last year with his, what did he do? He struck out 9 in a row or something like that.
Yeah, he had that crazy strikeout festival.
I think I did a breakdown. I think it was 9 and 8. Maybe he struck out 8 guys in a row.
Something like that, yeah.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, the Tigers are doing things. I'm very interested to hear where you guys are at with this. I mean, Casey Mize, Skubal, a lot of their prospects are, supposed to be coming up and being there. I don't know. What's their ceiling? I guess I just want to jump to that right away with you guys. Can this team finish third in the AL Central? Jake, you said you were on them, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say here.
So I think it's interesting when you ask the ceiling question because I like what I see from this Tigers roster. Just compared to the first two teams, I even think the next couple teams, I think if on my personal list, I would have had the Tigers a couple teams higher than that. But you're right, it's what does that mean? In my head, like best case scenario is it's a team that's coming into the last month of a season, there's a shot they end up around 500. I'm not saying that they can get to 500, but I think it's one of those things, and then it's like, oh, the tail falls off a little bit, and in my head, I've got them finishing, well, we'll get there with the over-unders, but I just think there's a lot of young guys on this team. I mean, when you start talking Scooble, Casey Mize, those guys are real prospects. Matthew Boyd, Turnbull, Michael Fulmer, we'll see what he's got in the tank. These are major league pitchers. It's how good of major league pitchers can we been? Because a lot of Boyd and Fulmer have been on both ends of the scale at this point of the career. Same with Urania. But these young guys coming up, and you see some of these ages in the lineup too. Willie Castro's 23. Paredes, when he gets his chance, he's 22. There are some young guys here that are getting an opportunity and you're excited about. They went out and got Robbie Grossman, another pro guy. And I think the AL Central's weak, where I think these guys, if they get that young energy flowing a little bit, and, if Casey Mize Day could become a thing, if Scooble Day could become a thing, you start getting excitement as a baseball team, and, you get yourself a 73-win season. So that's my excited about the Tigers.
Do you think they can finish third?
A lot of things have to go right for that to happen.
So it's Twins, White Sox,
Indians.
Cleveland. No.
You don't think they can finish third?
I do not.
The ceiling is 4 again.
Okay. Yeah. It's 4 and 5 ceiling for the 28th ranked team per Talkin baseball fans. Yeah.
If Mize, Scooball, and Matt Manning, who is, the 9th overall pick a couple years ago, there's a lot of talk about him as well. Big dude. I mean, they all got to come up and just be guys, then we can talk. But it doesn't happen that way. It really doesn't happen that way. So give the Tigers a few more years. Maybe all they need is one more year. Get these guys up a little bit of experience, and we'll see where they go. But yeah, I think the ceiling right now is that 4th spot in the AL Central.
The big bad man you were talking about, Miguel Cabrera, the one that everyone knows, Triple Crown, Miggy. He led the Tigers last year in home runs, in RBIs, in walks.
He was all in on the 60-game season. Let's do this.
For where I'm at, this is awesome.
That's perfect.
I know we're just kind of messing around, and it's just so tough to see a guy like that kind of being talked about, joked about a little bit. He's old, so he's not going to be what he was. But when he was in his prime, there was maybe not a better right-handed hitter. I mean, Pujols, Miggy, and Trout. I mean, those are the.
What about Manny in his prime?
Manny in his prime, sure, you can start throwing those guys in.
We're talking about rare there.
Guys that I really played against,
Flex.
This guy was incredible.
I mean, if Trev, to hammer home your point, for a 4-year period, I'd like to repeat that, a 4-year period, he hit .337 with a .425 on base, a 1.037 OPS. That's 4 years. 2 MVP awards. So
he's insane.
Pretty insane.
It's starting to get weird as we get older. You see Cabrera and Pujols now and how they're talked about. And it's like those dudes were the dude.
Another fun stat about Miggy Cabs is that his salary of $30 million makes up 46% of the Tigers' payroll this season.
Look at the contract. 30 mil this year, 32 in 2022, 32 in 2023. And then their vesting option. So Miguel Cabrera is supposed to be on the Tigers for the next 3 years, making $30 to $32 million.
Hey, he had a 102 OPS. Hey. He had a 102 OPS plus last year. So, I mean, he's just got to keep doing that.
Golly.
Dude, I say this all the time, but there's value in that. Not $30 million value. He's not going to put those numbers up, but the way he's able to help young hitters. Ask JD Martinez how valuable Miguel Cabrera is. These guys, ask another one, Castellanos. Ask him how valuable Miguel Cabrera is. He's turned those guys' careers around. And I think the Tigers, although they probably wouldn't want to pay him $32 million, they're saying, hey, Miggy, go be a good influence on these guys. Turn some of our young guys into young Miguel Cabreras, please.
Be nice.
Jacoby Jones had a really good 30 games last year.
Yeah, hell
Don't,
yeah.
Don't know what that's going to translate to.
My man.
But like really good. 127 OPS last year. OPS plus last year. So I don't know what that means. It's a lot on these young pitchers. It's make or break a little bit, and you hope you really have something with this crew. But again, they also have the new manager, which needs to be talked about. Hinch comes over, and maybe he works some magic. See who Hinch is, I guess. He did well with the Astros, plus some cheating stuff, but it's going to be a fun ride over there.
Trev's manager test, we'll call it. What does a manager do? We'll find out if Hinch can give these young guys a boost. Guess what? AJ Hinch is going to look like a lot better manager if Casey Mize and Scooble are studs. If they have young guy problems this year, he won't be that great of a manager. So we'll see. I think these Tigers team, with some of the other young guys that are going to get the call, we'll see if like Riley Green could make the jump this year. Torkelson's going to be in the hole. I don't think he's getting the call this year. He needs some action, but he's supposed to be one of the most MLB-ready bats we've seen in the draft for a while. I think this Tigers team is going to have us excited for 2022. So I guess when I say I'm excited about the Tigers, what does that mean? A couple free agents the next year, maybe Torkelson and Riley Green on the way, and you're starting to look at a transformed franchise.
Do they have any people that we might see traded?
Ooh, okay. I like that.
A lot of the guys they signed to 1-year deals, right?
Yeah, so Wilson Ramos, if a team needed a catcher.
Jose Urania, if he's amazing. Daniel Norris. Other than that, not really. Boyd and Fulmer. If anyone, I mean, talk about trading at the wrong time. Should have traded them before they were both garbage, but
it's true. True. Didn't Boyd start to turn it around last year?
Yeah, like
you gave him
start.
some credit. Credit enough. Yeah.
Daniel Norris, yeah, former top end kind of guy. We'll see what happens with him, but he's a trade candidate, I guess. I mean, look, I think they should start hoarding assets. I mean, they have a lot of these guys. They've had top 10 picks for the last 50 years.
Boyd had three good games in a row. Again, 2 of them against the Twins, so I guess the Twins just couldn't hit Boyd. So then I started giving him some love, but then he finished terrible again.
His last 7 starts, he was a league average pitcher. He had a 4.80 ERA, which again, not great.
Yeah.
He opened up the year with an ERA in the 10s, 5 starts in. So,
yeah, he's 3-4. I mean, he's pretty bad.
And again, this was a guy that was beloved. Same with Fulmer. They didn't.
He gave up 15 home runs in 12 games.
And that's the what would we be saying about this Tigers rebuild now if they had flipped Fulmer for 3 good prospects at the time? If they had traded Boyd for 3 full prospects at the time, and that's, the fear factor. We didn't fully mention this in the Pirates one, but what would this team look like if they had Glasnow and Austin Meadows? So there's I don't know. There's been that fear factor with rebuilds and trades. They will be trading at the deadline, but not a ton of pieces that fit the mold.
What about fantasy here? Who would you draft? You have to take one Tiger. Who's your number 1 pick? Is it Miggy Cabs? Just because, hey, why not?
God, the number 1 Tiger going off the board this year. If Candelario has third base eligibility, I don't know.
Is a Tiger getting drafted in fantasy leagues?
Willie Castro, what do you got, kid?
I don't play a lot of fantasy baseball. Like, is Grossman a valuable guy to have on your bench? You get him hot for a little bit. I mean, he always walks. His on-base percentage is usually pretty damn good.
Yeah. Willie Castro, if he plays shortstop and he can hit enough.
Yeah, that'd be a deep league. It'd be like 15
deep league.
teams.
Deep Tigers
I would say one of the pitchers. I would take a chance
team.
on one of the pitchers.
They're a good.
I think if you're playing a straight up 10 teams, 10 categories, 10 teams, 10 team league, I don't think a Tiger's getting drafted.
I'd have to get into the ADPs. Not there. Turnbull was good last year, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have the over-under set at 72.5 games. And again, we don't have real over-unders here. Because
for the third worst team?
Well,
taking the under on that one, Jim.
We went what? 56 to 62 to now we're in the 70s.
I wanted to make it 70, but you talked me
I'm
up.
high on them. Like I have their best case scenario as like 73, 74.
You said you thought they could go 500.
You said
going
500.
into the last month of the season. We checked the tape on this very easily. Just happened. I said best case scenario.
Under, Jim. Whatever
well,
you just said,
I'll change it. I
72.
thought Jake said they were going to be 500, so I altered it.
No.
I thought you said their best case was 500, so I was trying to find a line that would make
I said
you think.
almost verbatim that their best case would be heading into the last month of the season thinking about 500 and that it would fall off after that.
Okay, so I'll set it at 65. They haven't won 65 games since 2016.
65.
I am over that.
That'd be 97 losses. If they win 65 games, they lost 97 games. This team lost 114 games in 2019.
I think they're in a pretty tough division because I even think the Royals are going to give them a run for their money. I'm going to take the under. I'm not a believer in the Tigers right now. Like they need a lot of young guys to step up. I don't really want to root for Hinch. So I'm going to take the under on this one.
You've sold me. I'll take the under as well.
I'll go over. Get me excited for 2022 T-Grays.
They're on the right path. Their rebuild I think AL Central rebuilds just take a little longer. White Sox took a little longer. Tigers, Royals are slow dancing.
They got Dave Dombrowski'd, man. Like they went for it. They crashed and burned, and now they're slowly crawling out of that hole that Dave left. So I think they've done all right in the draft, right? You know, by all accounts, like they went and got out a bunch of pitchers, and
we'll find
out.
out.
Had top picks, and we'll find out because it's the show.
And I guess that's
the show.
That's the exciting part. We're about to find out if Casey Mize and Matt Manning and Scooble and these guys are the truth, and then right behind them, Torkelson, Riley Green. You know, these are guys that are well liked. But you know that rebuild could become a really nasty rebuild again if those guys aren't it. If they are,
rooting
then
for
you're
them.
excited.
I'm so cynical about pitching prospects though. So
you should be. It's very tough.
so hard. It's so hard. But you know,
Very
you go
tough.
to the Tigers fan forums and you know they're all excited about. My brain, if you were to tell me that the Yankees had 5 like dynamite pitching prospects, I'd be like, okay, one of them might work out. Like that's how I think. And the Yankees are bad at developing pitches, but that's what you got so many names here. It's like, I don't think all these guys are going to.
And these are bigger time prospects than the Yankees have had in
much
a while.
bigger because the Yankees never
higher draft picks. Two things I'd say we miss in the lineup. Willie Castro last year was 23 years old, played 36 games, had a 932 OPS, 349 batting average. If that guy, you know, again, those are lofty numbers, but if that guy coming off the Texas Rangers, nobody had anywhere near those stats. And Heimer Candelario, 872 OPS in the 52 games played, a switch hitting quarter infielder. So, you know, if those guys follow up becoming solid MLB starters, you've got a baseline there.
Were you surprised by the order that our fans voted this in? Did you? I thought the Tigers were going to be 29 and the Rangers would be. I thought they'd be switched.
I personally have the Tigers higher the other way. Like I would have thought, just blindly guessing, I would have thought the Tigers were like 25. Like I thought maybe the Orioles would have been lower. The Rockies now. Like,
the Rockies now.
I mean,
I don't know when we did the vote.
The bottom 10 teams is a crapshoot. 100%.
It's true. Seems like Pirates were consensus, then it's crapshoot time. We have a fun stat from researcher Max here. Left-hand pitcher Tariq Scooble's average cutter speed of 95.4 miles per hour was the fastest in all of MLB in 2020. None of his other pitchers ranked in the top 90 in velocity among all pitchers, so got him a fast cutter.
Throw that lefty cutter on your hands, Trev. Woo!
I mean, I'd open the hips up on him. I'd open the hips up. I'd get inside that cutter.
Oh, hell yeah.
Flip that for me.
All right, there you go. That's the Tigers. Tweet at us. Tell us what we missed if you're a Tigers fan. Appreciate you. Who's our Tigers fan from last year?
Ray
Rodriguez?
Ray R.
Ramirez?
I don't know what the second R meant.
Should have kept Gardy, that manager.
Shout out Ray. Didn't he quit halfway through the year? He retired halfway through the year.
Well, I mean,
They kept him.
Should have kept him.
should've
Lock
kept
him up.
Money talks.